One of Markeith's sisters also spoke up to say that Markeith often acted as a protector in their formative years when the children's mother was absent, that he would steal food and belongings for the other kids on the nights they had to go hungry, and pay the lights and water bills to get them reconnected. 2 doctors testified during the trial. The first diagnosed Markeith with grandiose and paranoid delusions, which he said was important because this can precipitate violence.
So he gets targeted and arrested more often than others, and he used to run the entire city of Orlando, and real quickly I'm thinking, these are odd or unusual thoughts.
A clinical psychologist also took the stand to say that Markeith suffers from PTSD, possibly resulting from childhood beatings at the hands of his mother, or the robberies he was the victim of during his time as a delivery man. Markeith testified that one co-worker got murdered working this same delivery job. Those were the main points that were presented in a bid to make the jurors sympathetic to Markeith and spare his life. And then finally, it was time for them to decide. Should Markeith spend his life in prison or be sentenced to death as punishment for the lives he took? The judge advised everyone that there would be no outburst when the verdict is read. In this tense clip, everyone holds their breath as the big moment takes place.
We, the jury, unanimously find that the aggravating factors are sufficient to warrant a possible sentence of death. No. Dated this 23rd day of October, year 2019, in Orange County, Florida, signed by the foreperson.
Nearly 2 years after the start of his first trial, Markeith Loyd went to trial for the death of Deborah Clayton. Markeith's trial officially began in October 2021. Following the opening statements, Markeith made a shocking claim, shouting that he had attempted to turn himself in twice before Walmart, where Deborah was shot and killed. No evidence was presented to prove this claim. One of the main points of debate during the trial was who exactly fired the first shot, Markeith or Deborah. The defense claimed that Markeith saw a gun in his face as he left the store and thought he was going to be shot, so he ran. He says he didn't know the gun belonged to a police officer at the time. He also claimed that he was not holding a gun at the time when Deborah fired at him, and that he only pulled his gun out and returned fire after he heard a shot, claiming that he was defending his own life. However, it was made clear that even after an investigation, it was unknown beyond a reasonable doubt who actually fired first. During closing statements, Markeith made sure his feelings were heard as he shouted, "They're lying." Yet on November 3rd, he was found guilty of the first-degree murder of Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. After his conviction, prosecutors then filed to seek the death penalty. Keeping in mind that Markeith had already avoided the death penalty previously, the prosecution argued that since Markeith already had a life sentence without the possibility of parole, that another life sentence would just, quote, be another piece of paper in Mr. Loyd's file, and that it was no punishment at all. In December 2021, a jury of 12, the same jury who found him guilty of first-degree murder the month prior, unanimously recommended that this time around, Markeith receive the death penalty. On March 23, 2022, about 5 years after Lieutenant Deborah Clayton was shot and killed, Markeith Loyd was sentenced to death.